In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses Kamala Harris's interview with Dana Bash of CNN, which lasted for 27 minutes, with Harris speaking for 16 of those minutes. He critiques the execution of the interview, stating that Bash fails to challenge Harris effectively. He describes the interview's aesthetics as poor, likening it to a small-town airport waiting area due to its lighting and setting. He argues that Harris requires a more flattering presentation to appear confident and capable. The overall impression is that Harris does not project the qualities necessary for a presidential candidate, appearing instead as a mid-level manager lacking leadership qualities. Shapiro points out that Harris attempts to obscure her previous policy positions, particularly regarding fracking and immigration. He notes that she struggles to provide concrete answers to straightforward questions, often resorting to vague platitudes. When asked about her plans for day one in office, Harris fails to articulate specific actions, instead offering a series of empty phrases about supporting the middle class and fostering hope and optimism. Shapiro criticizes her for not providing a clear agenda, suggesting that her responses reflect a lack of genuine belief in her policies. As the interview progresses, Bash questions Harris about her role in addressing the border crisis. Harris deflects responsibility, attributing the situation to the previous administration and claiming that her efforts have led to improvements. Shapiro argues that Harris's answers lack substance and accountability, as she fails to acknowledge the ongoing issues at the border during her tenure as vice president. He emphasizes that her evasive responses reveal a deeper problem with her candidacy. Shapiro asserts that the interview does not end Harris's campaign, but marks a shift in its nature. He suggests that Democrats watching the interview may feel relieved that Harris did not completely implode, but the lack of joy and confidence in her presentation raises concerns about her viability as a candidate. He argues that without the manufactured joy that has characterized her campaign, Harris appears vulnerable and unprepared for the challenges ahead. In contrast to Harris's performance, Shapiro highlights the Trump campaign's immediate response, which capitalizes on Harris's inconsistencies and attempts to frame her as out of touch with the American people. He notes that Trump emphasizes Harris's failure to connect with hardworking Americans, portraying her as someone who does not genuinely care about their struggles. This strategy aims to solidify Trump's position as a viable alternative to Harris. Shapiro also discusses the presence of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz during the interview, suggesting that he serves as an emotional support figure for Harris. He critiques Walz's performance, noting that he fails to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. He argues that both Harris and Walz project a lack of confidence and competence, further undermining their campaign's credibility. Shapiro contextualizes the interview within the broader political landscape, emphasizing the importance of effective communication and leadership in a presidential candidate. He contrasts Harris's performance with the expectations placed on candidates in previous elections, suggesting that the current political climate has lowered the bar for acceptable performance. He argues that Harris's inability to articulate her positions clearly reflects a deeper issue within the Democratic Party.